I spent 100 days in Minecraft PIXELMON, the mod that combines Pokemon and Minecraft. My goals for these 100 days are not going to be easy, as I'm a new player to Minecraft and the mod. But I did set myself some goals: collect at least 100 Pokemon, build an amazing base, beat at least one gym, and level my entire team to 100. I began my journey by choosing my starter, which was Mudkip. Started out day one by chopping down some trees, like you do, I think, in every Minecraft game it seems. But we kept getting followed by this Gulpin. It would not leave me alone no matter where I went or how far I travelled. But then I came across some weird pumpkins and they were growing everywhere. So... and then I thought, let's go down some mining. I want to get some coal, I want to get some iron, I want to try and make a bit of progress. But this Gulpin was still following me absolutely everywhere. I could not get rid of this thing. It beat my Mudkip fainted, and then what happened next was, it then carried on just following us. And it was basically just waiting for my Mudkip to like come back to life for some strange reason. So we just sort of let him tag along for the first sort of 5 days of the game while I was travelling. And then we carried on, my Mudkip came back. So I came back with 1 HP, so what we did then was I tried to escape. And then I finally escaped and Gulpin left me alone. So for like the first 5 days of the game, that's all that happened. It's just me and Gulpin on our travels. And then we're going to get some apricots, but I learned later on that you don't have to actually chop the whole tree down. So you might see me chop quite a few of these down. And then we came to a ravine. I didn't really know what I was doing, so the only real thing I had on me was pumpkins, so I decided just to make a pumpkin bridge. Move tutor absolutely scared me to death. It just literally dropped on top of me while I was looking at ores. I came to a temple underground and there was all these unknown blocks, so I was pressing buttons and clicking things. I just could not figure this temple out whatsoever. There was water everywhere, I was trying to get through it. So in the end I just sort of chopped through the wall to try and see what was behind it. I thought that might have been the most sensible thing, but I was a bit worried there might have been dynamite in here. I've seen people before play and they get them temples, and then we came across this Harry Potter temple, and I don't know what it was. It was just full of books and like a school classroom. It was a very strange thing to encounter before I decided to set sail, and we literally came across this weird thing in the water. I've no idea what this block's called or what it is, but I just sort of decided to have a swim, got towards the bottom, and then realised there was a chalice down there. No idea what it was for yet. I do figure it out later on in the game, but for now I just tried to break it, and then I thought it didn't want to break, so we'll just sort of head out of there early. And then it was just nice sailing from there forward. I'm still trying to find a village at this point. Like, I'm literally just sailing for days upon days upon days before we finally hit land and come across a village. And then I decided, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to raid everything in this place. Just go in and absolutely take everything I can. Because at this point in the game I didn't quite realise that breaking this was going to ruin it either. Like the healers, I didn't know a diamond was needed. Just like I say, I'm definitely very, very new at this game. But I managed to get a PC to take with me, which was nice. But yeah, so after we finished raiding all this place, I thought about raiding all the food as well, but then I thought against it because the few Pokemon I had battled up to this point, they all seemed to give meat. So I thought, maybe PIXELMON has a thing where it gives you meat. In the end, I just carried on raiding the place, seeing what all the vendors did. I didn't quite figure out what this TCG guy was for. Obviously the TCG is like the card game, but I didn't quite figure out how it works in the first 100 days of this playthrough at all. But I've finished my first quest, found a village, found a healer, found a shop, and then this is basically where I ended up making my home base. So I always had a healer on hand, but I also learned as well, you don't have to click that guy. You can literally just do it the other way around, which was crazy. I still at this point only had a level 5 Mudkip. I'd not really beat too many Pokemon. I didn't know whether shinies were like Scarlet and Violet, because I'm only used to Nintendo Pokemon games, so this is all very, very new to me. I quite like the battling in it. It was quite cute, it was fun. And then I thought it would be time just to see if we can get my Mudkip to beat something. So we just started battling it. I didn't know if this was like a shiny Pidgey of some kind, but it wasn't shining, it had no stars or anything on it, but it just literally one-shot my Mudkip like everything does in this game at the minute. Poor Mudkip. Until he gets a bit better, a little bit higher level, a bit better. He's not the best to starter, but I do love Swampert a lot, so that's why I decided to choose him. At this point as well, I hadn't quite realised you could go upstairs in the shop and it'd be full of Pokeballs. Like, it did take me probably the first 10 to 20 days of the game, sort of go over and start figuring these sort of little things out in PIXELMON, because I didn't actually look anything up previous to this either. I literally went in completely blind to Minecraft. I went in completely blind to PIXELMON. So you might see me make a lot of mistakes in this. So I'm hoping I can sort of make up for it now that I've learned a little bit more towards the end of the playthrough. We just sort of carried on raiding everything. One thing I was struggling with was bag room. I didn't know that in Minecraft it'd be this hard to carry everything. I thought they'd like give me something to help me out basically, but nope, you get like, what is it, like 16 or 20 slots inside your bag, and then you get your 9-10 bars, and that's it. From there we decided to do some mining. So I just sped this up for you, a little speed up montage of me mining. We learn later on that you really don't need to mine in this game. You can literally just go and raid everything. It's so much easier. There's no need to actually mine in this game. But I did have a lot of fun mining. I found no diamonds though. That's one thing I didn't find. I got loads of iron, loads of stuff. I started trying to make my own Pokeballs and stuff later on. But yeah, it was a very strange experience, but I was like always worried there was going to be like a creeper or something coming to blow me up. Because the few times I've seen people play Minecraft in the past, it's always been, you're mining away, and then it was like... So we got sort of a little bit of a team by this point, and it's nothing special, it's just the first couple of Pokemon I kind of ran into in the village. But we decided to go on a bit of a trek. I wanted to just go and explore some more of the game. I wanted to go and try and find some more villagers to raid. Still trying to figure out everything with the Pokemon. So I just sort of took Furfrou and Ponyta and just sort of travelled. Didn't really know if you could fly or not. That was another thing I found much later on, that you can actually fly in this game, which was pretty cool. I bumped into some great Pokemon on the way as well. Caught a few Pokemon while I was out and about. I finally had a full team of 6, so we're making progress towards the first goal we set ourselves, which was to get a full team of Pokemon to level 100. That raid system in the game as well, like from Sword and Shield, is really cool. I did enjoy that a lot. I found that it broke a lot more Pokeballs throughout this 100 days as well than it actually caught. But yeah, I'm just sort of going to keep exploring for the first few days of the game, see what's what, raid everything possible. That's my plan. Try and break everything, try and raid everything, try and steal everything we can. Just really go for it. I wasn't quite sure what all these shopkeepers and stuff were for yet. I didn't know if they all sold specific items, things like that. But I did learn the shops themselves, they either sell like curry or TMs, or the types of Pokeballs that they sell, they were all totally different. I'd never seen a cake before as well when we got here, which was cool, so I did take the cake. I don't think I ever ended up eating it in the end, but we did take it. But we just carried on raiding everything, and then we were chilling out upstairs, we were playing some music. I don't even know what the block's called. See, I don't really know much about Minecraft. I did learn a lot, and I kind of been having a lot of fun playing this so far. Done so much exploring, so much running around. Still trying to figure out how you craft things. I wasn't even sure what most of this stuff was. I literally just kept pillaging and taking everything that we came across. There was just sort of no in between for this one. It was just literally take everything I can. Anything that looked like it might sell or might be worth something. We just went in and really just raided the place. We eventually did find another shop, and I figured out you could go behind the shopkeepers. This is when I really started making a lot of progress. Well, this is where I got most of my items from the entire playthrough, really. I sort of went, in every village I found, I went straight for the shop, I went straight upstairs. It pretty much kept me in Pokeballs throughout the entire 100 days. So you literally, if you ever play PIXELMON for the first time and you come across these shopkeepers, honest to God, just literally roll upstairs, take everything, slide down the ladder, sell everything that you don't need, like potions, things, antidotes, revives, that sort of stuff. Keep a couple back, but most of the time I would honestly just sell them. Go from there. It's so much easier and nicer just to do it that way. And you can make a lot of money as well. Like at one point I was sitting at like 20-30k at a time and just able to buy everything that I needed. It was really good. Like just getting tons of quick balls, tons of grey balls, tons of level balls in. It was really good. But after we finished raiding, I came outside and I found like a little Poke Stadium. So I assume these guys might have been some sort of gym leaders or something like that. We did try battling them, but it was not very productive. I sent out my Marshtomp, we tried a few things, sent out Frigibax, we sent out Gyarados, and one thing I did learn is you can't leave. The guy will literally stay and continually beat you until he beats all your Pokemon. But luckily I did have a 43 Furfrou, did manage to get a couple of his Pokemon down and things like that, which was great. It was a lot of fun, but if I didn't have this Furfrou carrying me at this point, we never would have beat this or got there. And then the trainers go from like level 30 to 40 to 50, and they all have like 6 Pokemon and things like that. It was so much fun, honestly. It was great. Furfrou's holding his own here. He's taking down Flaffy, took down a Raticate. I think we're gonna have to probably beat this Meowth before we can move on. Let's see. Because I do try sending out Gyarados, and Gyarados is still a little bit low, but he didn't take great big damage. He managed to survive the hit from a level 30 Meow. Yeah, there you go. And then I forfeit and leave because I'd pretty much run out of decent usable Pokemon. The other dude was level 40, the other one was level 50. I didn't even want to try tackling them at this point. I really did not think that I'd be able to beat things like that. One thing is those guys and also a few of the others I encountered in the game, they were actually quite challenging, which made it a lot more fun. So I was definitely enjoying myself at this point. And then having a giant Gyarados and Furfrou, and then finding Frigibax and knowing that I could get a Braxcalibur was so good. We moved on after the gym, we then went back to exploring. A little later on I did find another gym with a level 50 guy in it, and I did decide I'm not even going to try and tackle this one. Then I decided I'm going on a catching spree. So I found a level 50 Farfetch'd, and I just kept throwing Pokeballs and sacrificing Pokemon to try and catch it, because I really needed to make some progress with my team so we can actually get on with these 100 days. So we got the Farfetch, which was an absolute win. We then went on to get a Perugly, which spawned right next to me, and that managed to catch, which was really cool. Perugly's a solid Pokemon when you're playing some of the earlier games, so you definitely can't complain with that. Come on, Perugly, get in the ball, and there you go. We got the Perugly. Next up is, I decided I want to get some apricots. So I sort of cleared out a huge area, so I'm just speeding the footage up. I decided to clear the whole area out, light it up, plant a ton of apricot trees, because even though I wasn't really crafting Pokeballs at this point, I was sort of farming them and from towns and shopkeepers and above the shops and things. I still thought it'd be really nice to have, and like have your own orchard of apricots. So if later on in the game I ever like really do need them, I have this big farm. So I'm just gonna let the little montage play, and then boom, it finished. There you go. All sorts of different colour apricots. I made like a little farm. It was really good. I quite enjoyed that. It was really great. And then this thing came out of the water, and this giant I can never say this thing's name, but this came out of the water. I threw a Pokeball, I caught it, and then I was just riding around on a giant spider in the rain. We then went back to catching. I got a Wormadam, captured that. And then more catching, literal just knuckle stack, caught. This is just an absolute catching spree. It was so much fun. Went and explored everywhere I could, trying to use as many of these Pokeballs I'd been getting. So we caught a Mudbray as well, then a Poochyena was caught, because one of my goals was catch 100 Pokemon, and I really wanted to get on with that. So now that I've got all these Pokeballs, I've got my Marshtomps up to 27, still getting one shot. I'd been lucky enough to catch a 67 Zangoose, which literally carried me for now. And then I bumped into a 54 Pupitar, which I thought, if I get this, I can go and evolve it straight away. But then just as I come out of battle, a Coffee Grigus decided to jump me, but I thought, do you know what, I'm throwing an Ultra Ball, and we caught it. And then we went and gave a rare candy to Pupitar, bada boom, bada bing, out comes the big daddy himself, Tyranitar. One of the most Gigachamp Pokemon ever, man. I love this thing, and I just love this like evolution. It's a really small Tyranitar from some of the ones I'd seen in game later on, but it was mine, and that's all that mattered. That's the bit I like the most. So there we go, Tyranitar's in the team. Now it's time to work on everyone else. Now it's time, I think, to build a base. I've got nowhere to live, so time to start clearing out for a base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed it up, I'm going to put a little music on, and hopefully you guys enjoy. So after around 20 days of building, this is where I got up to. I think it turned out quite nice. I've a bit of decorating to do still, but I ended up with a little base, and it was mine, basically. It was great. But here's me showing you guys I'd caught 100 Pokemon already at this point as well. So in between building the base for the last 20 days, I've been running around grabbing some Pokemon. So I just thought I'd show you a little through my boxes and just so we can see what we've got. I ended up catching a Suicune as well, but I totally forgot to record. But I did manage to film some of this raid for you guys when I'd finally got a few guys involved. It was only a 3-star Spinder raid, but I had a lot of fun doing these little raids. I thought they were kind of cool. And then they'd go straight in the Gigantamax, or they like go into a Mega Form and things like that. Well, by this point, I'd spent a lot of days just leveling Pokemon. I didn't include that in the video, so I didn't think most people would want to sit there and watch me literally just spam killing mobs, leveling Pokemon with an XP all on. Yeah, but the Spinder raid was really cool. We managed to get there in the end. We did beat it, and then we moved on to back to the level. But after we did beat the Spinder as well, I used the rare candy. And Goodbye finally, after so long, was ready to get me a Garchomp. I just love Garchomp, and he's an absolute amazing Pokemon. And it just reminds me of Cynthia all the time from the originals. But we had our Garchomp finally, so we decided to keep moving on and leveling up. But when I was leveling and flying around, I did come across this really cool pirate ship. And it just looked like an old sail ship. It was absolutely amazingly made. So I decided I'm going to try and raid it. But literally all it had was corals, bread, a good rod, and like literally just fish and paper. I was kind of disappointed by it, to be fair. There was a rare boss there, but I didn't really feel I was ready to take him yet, because previously, like, all the rare bosses and uncommons and stuff I'd come across, I was not faring too well against them. So I just sort of like thought I'd raid the place and just sort of move myself on a bit. After all this leveling, I thought it was time to start camping out on a desert hills, because I decided to look up something, because I really wanted Groudon on my team. I found he spawned on desert hills, so what I was doing is literally running all the way around the desert hills, farming the mobs around the desert hills and killing those to get the XP needed to level my team, the 100. By this point I was getting pretty far up there, so I thought we'd just sort of camp on the hill and just keep fighting everything, and hopefully Groudon would spawn during the day. I did eventually get Groudon. I must have camped out there for endless amounts of days before getting him, and then while I was also there leveling Pokemon, I got my Whalmer out because I thought I really wanted to see a Whale Lord, just to see if they were sort of put to scale, and oh my god, look at this thing. It's insane. Absolutely crazy how big that thing is on the game. It's like a submarine on land. And while I was leveling away, boom, another one. There's Braxcalibur finally. So I've had Frigibax from the beginning, and I've kept him on the team the whole time. I thought he's a great Gen 9 Pokemon. And then boom, we have him. And then there's my Groudon. I finally found a Nidoran legendary shiny boss, and I thought, do you know what, it's time to whip out the Groudon now. I've spent all this time leveling him, and I absolutely wrecked the legendary boss, which is just another little goal I'd set myself to get done, and we did it. The loot was nothing amazing. There was a plate for Arceus spawn, and then it's literally just time to show you now. I have a full team, level 100, so the first real big goal was done. I had a Dragapult, I had a Garchomp, I had a Groudon. God, these Pokemon names at times, man. And then I had Swampert, obviously, and my Braxcalibur on the team. I went for full-on, big, cool-looking Dragon Pokemon. Or Dragon-esque. And then it was finally time for me to tackle the last gym. I went and found a gym. It was a flower gym. And they whipped out an Arceus as the first Pokemon. Honestly, I was like, oh my god, how am I supposed to beat this thing? So I just carried on going for it, and I thought, do you know what, we're just going to try and beat the gym. It's the final challenge in the game that I set myself to do. He sent out a Ferrothorn, which was actually destroying my Dragapult. But luckily I had my darts on Dragapult, so I did do quite a lot of damage before I had to swap out. Brought my Groudon in. I thought if I try the fire moves and the hammer arms, I might start getting somewhere. And it wasn't really going too well until Treevant was sent out. This thing's healing was incredible. Like, I'd pull the sun out, it'd do damage, and then it would just heal all its health back every single time. It just did 50% of Groudon's health, and oh my days, man, this was the hardest thing I've done in the game by far. The gym leader's Pokemon, even though it says they were equal or legendary or something, it was ridiculously hard. You had to beat all these people as you were coming in the gym, and then to finally get to this point, to get your Groudon just absolutely wrecked was scary, because Like Breloom come straight out, wrecked Groudon. It just left me with my Tyranitar, my Braxcalibur, Garchomp, and then I was just literally just spamming moves at this point because I thought I've got to beat this gym. I've got to beat this gym. It's the last challenge. We're basically at 100 days, and I didn't really know like if I was going to do it or not. So I just literally kept throwing everything I had. Braxcalibur was probably a really terrible choice for this gym, but he did actually wreck Breloom when he got a hit off, and then it left me with my original Swampert. I hadn't found a Dynamax or like a Mega Evolve thing at this point, but I thought it still should be able to do enough damage. And then Arceus comes out, and I was like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing here? Water moves against grass moves. It was just like, I'm actually screwed. And Swampert gets like one shot, and it just left me with Garchomp, and then pulling Garchomp and being the little Giga Chad he is, because it's like the world's smallest Garchomp. I was just like spamming revives on like Groudon and other Pokemon, just really going for it, because this was actually crazy challenging. And then it was just a case of Garchomp was going to be like a sacrifice Pokemon at this point. I decided why I just spam revives and hyper potions on as many Pokemon as I could get my hands on, man. It was just like, oh my god. So I'm here just spamming hyper potions on Dragapult because his darts did a lot of damage. Groudon has his Fire Fang, and I was just like, and then Garchomp's there still trying to pull out a few moves. It was just, oh my days, it was honestly insane. And then poor Garchomp got down to 2 HP. Did a lot of damage to Arceus though, which was absolutely unbelievable. I could not quite believe that. Pulls out the Groudon. I thought, let's see what we can do. It didn't do much damage. Reciprocal Blades down to 11%, and Groudon's nearly dead again. So I'm just spamming hyper potions at this point, seeing if we can beat it. And poor Groudon, man, he's taking such a beating. And then Groudon finally beat Arceus, and then a Venusaur comes out and Mega Evolves or Gigantamaxes or something, and it was like, what? I didn't know, but apparently the last person of a gym, their Pokemon are going to like Mega Evolve or Gigantamax or something. So it was literally Dragapult on 80%, Venusaur on 80%, me spamming revives, and then I completely forgot he'd sent out his Ferrothorn, and I was like, oh no. So I'm there with a like half-dead Groudon and a Dragapult at this point, and we're just literally going back and forth, and it's so close to 100 days, and I'm like, if I don't beat it now, I'm actually going to run out of time at this point. It was like the last night before 100 days, and I'm just there trying to spam everything I have in my bags. I used all my revives. I finally was like, I'm going to take Ferrothorn down, I'm going to do it, just spamming potions on Groudon and stuff. So we were still just battling away, and then it started healing, and I was like, oh my god, no. And then luckily Groudon took him down, and then I forgot at this point what was coming out next. Oh yeah, 1 Giga Drain, my screen went crazy, Groudon goes splat. It was like, oh my god, no, that's it, we was out of usable Pokemon. We failed the gym on the 100th day pretty much. It was like, oh no. Well, there you have it guys, 100 days in Minecraft PIXELMON. I managed to get a full team up to level 100, caught over 100 Pokemon. The only major goal I actually failed at was the gym. I just could not beat it. I went back and tried a couple more times, even though it'd gone past 100 days, and it was still not working. But I'd like to say thank you all for watching, if you've made it this far into the video of my craziness, and I'm hoping to continue this series. I'm hoping to maybe take this up to 200 days and try and get my revenge on this. So if that's something you guys might like to see, you can subscribe and drop a comment down below and let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.